For thousands of years, the science of yoga survived in the shadows of forest ashrams, passed from teacher to student through the spoken word alone. We know a man named Patanjali eventually stepped out of those forests and codified these oral traditions. But the historical record is so thin that scholars cannot agree if he lived as recently as 400 BC, alongside the Buddha, or as far back as 4000 BC. Before he wrote a single word, there was no unified system of yoga. There was simply a massive, chaotic ocean of regional breathing exercises, ascetic disciplines, and local philosophies. Today, his teachings form the foundation for a discipline spanning the entire globe. Yet, aside from his mother's name, we have zero verifiable historical data about his life. He transformed a sprawling oral tradition into a logical, sequential framework that has remained functionally unchanged for over 2,000 years. One of the most persistent myths surrounding Patanjali is as he actually created the science of yoga. He never made that claim. This commentary examines the prefix anu in the word anushasana, which translates to teach that which has been taught before. By choosing this exact phrasing, Patanjali offers a formal disclaimer of authorship, telling the reader he is working within an existing tradition. Patanjali organized the disparate practices of his time into a definitive system, effectively mapping out a territory that had been explored for centuries but never documented. To understand his place in history, we have to look at a traditional Sanskrit verse used to honor his life's work. This translated text credits him with 3 achievements: removing the impurities of the mind through yoga, of speech through grammar, and of the body through medicine. It cites him as the author of an exposition on grammar and a foundational treatise on human anatomy. This creates a historical problem. Modern scholars argue it is highly improbable for a single human being to master 3 entirely distinct, highly complex scientific disciplines. This leads many to suggest that Patanjali might be a lineage title shared by 3 separate master scholars over centuries. By codifying techniques to refine the physical body, the spoken word, and the internal mind, the Patanjali name became synonymous with a comprehensive system for upgrading human capability. The historical debate eventually gives way to a much older mythological tradition. Ancient texts tell us his mother, Ganika, prayed for a worthy student, and he literally fell into her hands. In Indian mythology, he is revered as a direct incarnation of Lord Adi Shesha, the divine cosmic serpent who serves as the resting place for the preserver of the universe. This serpentine identity connects him directly to the concept of Kundalini, the vital, coiled energy believed to sit at the base of the human spine. The name Shesha literally translates to the residue. In Hindu cosmology, it represents the absolute essence that remains after the entire material universe dissolves. This mythology mirrors the functional structure of his work. Like Shesha, these sutras are meant to be the technical principles that endure after the distractions of the material world are stripped away. He codified these principles using a very specific literary technology. He wrote in the form of the sutra, a Sanskrit word that translates literally to string or thread. Look at this physical manuscript. In ancient times, thoughts were etched into fragile palm leaves, bound together by a single cord. He compressed yoga's philosophy into 196 succinct aphorisms. They were deliberately brief, so students could easily memorize them. This formatting was a specific mechanism for preservation. By reducing a sprawling tradition into a tight, memorizable string of logic, he ensured the knowledge would outlast fallen empires, decaying paper, and centuries of war. Some modern critics point to the stark, analytical nature of these threads as evidence of atheism, but the texts and commentaries confirm Patanjali was a strict theist, offering a methodical stairway intended to lead practitioners directly to higher cosmic consciousness. Yet when you open the text, he doesn't begin with a grand philosophical statement about the nature of God or the universe. He begins with a simple, direct command. Here we see the very first word of the Yoga Sutras is atha, which translates to now, then, and therefore. It is an auspicious blessing, but also a boundary. It signifies the student has completed the preparations, and true instruction is ready to commence. Atha is the doorway into the mind of Patanjali. He is telling us the preparation is over. and the work begins now. Next time, we will step through that ancient door and examine the single sentence that defined yoga forever.